Hey guys, so what we're going to do is we are going to just kind of review all those views, and we're going to go back over what you guys need to know about weather and climate so far. We haven't really got to the climate part, so hopefully I've really kind of tried to hold on to that because it's something I'd really like to talk to you about in person. Just saying. But we will do that whenever we get back. December 1st is when we'll start the climate part. So we're about at the halfway point of our big unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just kind of go over things because you guys are going to have like a little mini quiz just to see how much you're actually getting so far. Okay. So we're just going to kind of go back through this, and you guys are going to totally have to bear with me because, again, this camera likes to jump. So we're just going to see how it goes. Okay. So weather and climate. We have talked about our APK and all about weather. So let's go through our definitions, our vocabulary words for this unit. So the first word that we need to know is weather. And this was actually a reading vocabulary word a couple weeks ago. So we kind of double dipped. Weather is the current outdoor conditions. It's how it feels outside right now. So like right now, I'm looking outside my windows and it's sunny. It's chilly, but it's sunny. So that's the weather outside right now. Climate is the average weather conditions for a region year after year. So how it is typically in Alabama every November. Usually November is chilly. It's usually not super cold. It's usually not snowy, but it's usually chilly. It's usually it's getting colder. We may have some warmer days and some cooler days. It's kind of a mix, okay? The friendly definition there is how the weather is in a specific place each year. I'm headed to Florida in a couple of days. I know usually what the weather is going to be like Thanksgiving because I do a big Thanksgiving run with my family. And so the good thing is I know what the climate's like down there, so I know what kind of clothes to pack. Climate's an important thing to know if you're going on a trip to a specific place so you know how to pack your clothes. You don't want to show up to Montana in December with a bathing suit. You're going to be a little cold, just saying. Okay. All right. The next word is season, and you should all know this one. It is one of the 4 natural divisions of the year: winter, spring, summer, fall. We are currently still technically in fall. It has not officially become winter yet. So even though you're starting to wear jackets, it's not wintertime yet. All right, next up, prediction. It's a statement about what you think will happen based on what you know. And so the friendly definition here is what you think will happen. Meteorologists use this, they call it prediction. They don't call it a prediction. They call it a forecast because they use the information that they know to help them to figure out what they think is going to happen because they use what they know. They're basing it off of that. A meteorologist, like I just said, is someone who studies weather and climate, a person who studies the weather. This is like James Spann, Jerry Tracy. There's a whole bunch of other ones, but James Spann is my man. So there's a ton of meteorologists out there. They're the people that are looking at the data. They're using weather tools. They're looking at patterns to be able to make those predictions, to be able to make those forecasts. Okay. All right, word to your mother. All right, so we also start talking about weather instruments. And so there are 4 main ones that we need to know. They are a thermometer, and I am going to hide this little button right here so you can see. How about that? Is that better? Okay, so a thermometer measures the amount of heat energy in something. It's the temperature. Do not just say it measures how hot it is. Mr. Vice will get you. It measures the amount of heat energy in something. So when there's more heat energy, it's going to be hotter. The thermometer is going to go up. If there's less heat energy, it's going to be colder. So the thermometer is going to come down. If it is one that uses, like in this picture, that uses the red liquid. Remember back in olden times, they used to use mercury. Now it's just a red liquid. But there are also other types of thermometers. There are digital thermometers, and then there are also thermometers to where it's a circle and the scale is red as it goes around. And so you would look at it like that. One thing to remember about thermometers is being able to read it. We will talk about that right now. Be sure that you look at the scale of the numbers. Make sure that you know if they go by 10s, 5s, sometimes they even go by 2s. And you would look at where that red liquid stops, and that would be the measurement of your temperature. If it's one of those, if it's one that the dial is pointing to, you would look at where the number points to. If it's a digital one, just read it. But in the US, here where we live, we use degrees Fahrenheit. And so we write a temperature like it is right here. It's 75, little tiny circle dot, and a capital F. So that would be 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Across the way, in Europe and in a lot of other places, they use degrees Celsius. And so it would be written with a little tiny circle and then a capital letter C. But for us, we use Fahrenheit. Another weather instrument is the rain gauge, and that measures the amount of precipitation that falls. Remember, precipitation can be rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain, hail. So any of those things, as it lands in the rain gauge, it's measuring, it's collecting that. The way that you read a rain gauge, we did some worksheets on it and looked at some. It's where the liquid stops at the top of the rain gauge. So you're measuring, and usually you also have to look at the scale on a rain gauge, because a lot of times those scales will go by 5s, 10s, and you may not know exactly. Okay. All right. Next up, we're not going to worry about we know what precipitation is. We just said it can be rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain, and hail. Those are the 5 main types. Remember, we had that on a Monday for in Schoology. That was one of your questions. Remember that the water you're drinking right now, I bet you're all taking a big gulp of that awesome cold water, and you're totally drinking dinosaur spit. Because remember, our water is recycled. That's the cool thing about it. It totally recycles itself. Remember, whenever it's up in the clouds, we've got condensation. It's chilling up there. Whenever it gets too heavy, it all of a sudden starts to go, and then it comes down to the earth in the form of precipitation. And then it goes into like some type of watershed. And then as it just chills in that watershed, whether it's a pond or a lake or a creek or ditch or on the sidewalk, as the sun heats it up and heats it up and heats it up, and then it starts to get into little tiny gas molecules, and it starts to go back up and go back up, and that's evaporation, where it gets back up to the top and it chills out up there as condensation again. All right. The next weather tool is an anemometer. Anemometer measures wind speed. Remember, that's my contraption that when you blow on it, it spun around. It's measuring how fast the wind is going. The big thing to remember here is wind speed. Think about those cups. As it's going around, it's measuring that. My husband uses an anemometer whenever they do tests at his work to see how fast the wind blows through different pieces of equipment. All right, next up, wind vane. This is what's going to be tricky between anemometer and wind vane. They both measure the wind, but an anemometer measures wind speed, and a wind vane or a wind sock measures wind direction, measures which direction the wind is blowing from: north, south, east, west, north, east, southeast, all those other jazz, whatever direction it's blowing in, that's what the wind vane is going to measure for you. All right, you guys did your weather trailers. And when you did your weather trailers, you did some research on different types of weather. The biggest thing is making sure that we know how to stay safe during our different types of weather. If you researched blizzards or snow, you would know that if you were going to go drive, which none of you have your license yet, I don't think, but you would be careful in driving in snow conditions. If you were living up north or in a place that it snowed a lot, you would probably have a car that would have what are called snow tires or snow chains on them. If you researched rain, then you would know to be careful and be vigilant of floods and to stay away from flooded areas because of the amount of animals that could be in there, critters. If you researched thunder and lightning, you would know that thunder can't hurt you, but lightning can. And you would never want to seek shelter underneath trees. So you would always want to stay indoors. Let's see, what was one of our other ones? That could have been it. Was that it? I think so. Oh, did we do tornadoes or hurricanes? No, we didn't do hurricanes yet. I don't know. Anyways, big thing is making sure that that we're staying safe from those that I just said, if that's any kind of a hint. All right. I think that's where we have stopped. Well, no, there's not going to be any questions about types of clouds. I'm trying to get you guys to where we would have been. Okay. I think we're good. Yes, this is where we would end. So I'm going to get us out of here so that you can just listen to me. I'm going to have your vocabulary words on a just a document itself at the end. I want you to make sure that you look over that. I'm going to give you a Kahoot game. Yes, I am, for all of my Kahoot friends. If you've never played Kahoot, that's fine. You'll just go to the link and you'll just play it by yourself. You won't be playing against everybody else in the classroom. You'll just be playing it for yourself to review. It's just going to have some questions from the test. Yeah, did you get that? So do you think you need to probably play the Kahoot game at least once? Yes. Because then you'll know what the questions are going to be. Catch my drift? Okay. All right. Anyways, just remember that weather is the current outdoor conditions. Okay, guys? Be sure that you're doing your weather journal. We should be on day 1, 2, 3. We should be on day 3. And we are almost to the end. Tomorrow you're going to do day 4. And I'm going to wrap that up. I'm going to give you a short little video that you'll watch right after the quiz, just to make sure that you know what in the world's going on and how to do it. All right, guys. Miss you. Air high fives, fist bumps, hugs, the whole 9 yards. And we will see you guys soon. All right.